Hello everybody and welcome to the Be Lucky Saturday ITV Racing Podcast. For the 13th of June, we are the weekend before Royal Ascot and it is getting very, very exciting. I have an opening 3-point bet for the Queen Anne for members on the first day of Royal Ascot, and I'm really excited to be getting stuck in. If you'd like to come and join, it's www.patreon.com/Daryl Carter Racing. Really looking forward to the week. Can't wait to get stuck in. If you DM me on any of the social channels, I can offer you a 20% discount on your first month, because I'm so confident that once you see the service and what we offer, that you will stay going forward. But for now, this is your free podcast. Members get their own private podcast after this one. And it looks good racing on Saturday. It does look like good racing. We're going to kick off over at York in the Class 3 7 furlong handicap. Now, the first thing to notice here is to watch out, because Tolstoy runs on Friday and he could run in this on Saturday. He did the double last year. He won on the Friday and he won on the Saturday, and it's definitely worth keeping an eye out to see how he gets on Friday. I think he might go well on Friday, and I think he could be lining up in this Class 3 contest. It's a really tricky race. You can make cases for many horses in this field. The one that I came down on, we'll get to in a moment, is a double figure price. But the top of the market looks like this. Dashing Darcy for Jeffrey Harker, 9-2. Blue for You for David Omaru. Loves York, 7-1. Our Havana drawn out in stall 14. 8-1. Palmer Bay, who just coming off a good victory on the all-weather last time, now under William Buick for Ralph Beckett, 10-1. Alto, so progressive last year, makes his seasonal return for Ian Williams at 11-1. Telemark, 11-1. Diligent Resdev, 12-1. Yanifer, second in this race last year, 14-1. Little Empire, 16s. And the progressive and unexposed at 7 furlongs, Havana Pusey, is 18-1. It's bigger the rest. Dashing Darcy's a lovely horse, bit frustrating, doesn't really get the head in front that often, which, you know, it is annoying for punters. Has finished second and third plenty of times in the career, and is carrying 9.13 in this race. But it's probably a rightful market leader after the run 21 days ago behind the progressive Great Chieftain at Haydock. Blue for You is an obvious one that's going to be put towards the top of the market. Has loved York for a long time, but does look a little bit on the downgrade this time around. He's now 7, and that is, I suppose, a slight concern. Our Havana needs to bounce back from a disappointing effort last time, 42 days ago, when, not disappointing, but was well beaten in the Thirst Cup, when relatively quietly fancied by quite a few people. Needs to bounce back from that effort, having won really nicely at Musselburgh the time before and looking quite well handicapped. Palmer Bay has to prove himself on turf, pretty much. He did in the early part of his career, but not so much since. He is a little bit unreliable, and he's got a good chance. You know, if he repeats his all-weather form, I think he's got a very good chance of going close here. But I do like Diligent Resdev. Just stall 15 is obviously not ideal, but I actually think it's going to suit him. I thought he saw too much daylight 19 days ago at Redcar, when well fancied, really well backed in the market into 5-4. We were on him that day. But the drop in trip to 6 was against him on close reflection, and he saw too much, didn't get no cover. He has won here at York quite impressively, and I think coming from the rear or coming from midfield will definitely help him out. Joanna Mason will be able to get him some cover in there, and I think he'll finish off very strongly. I think he's a horse that needs 7 furlongs and further rather than the 6 furlongs that they keep toying with, to be honest. The visor is on, and I do think stall 15 may be a bit of a blessing rather than a curse, given that he wants to get that bit of cover. But Yanifer makes appeal. Havana Pusey at a big price makes appeal. There's lots in here that make appeal. But Diligent Resdev was just the 4-year-old I thought had more to offer. Keeps shaping a little bit better than the Bear result, and I think there's more to come from him. We move over to Sandown, and it's read Megan Nichols' blog at BetMGM, and I do implore you to go and read it. She's a good judge. She puts the work, she puts the effort in, and She is it's worth having a look at. The 205 at Sandown, it's a mile handicap. Classic heads the market here at 9 to 2. Ryan Moore's on board for Richard Hannon. Theory of Everything for Ross O'Ryan and David Amara, 5 to 1. Urban Lion, 11 to 2. Astra Verde is an interesting runner here, making the seasonal return and stable debut for Hugo Palmer, 8 to 1. Tribal Chief, 8 to 1. Balmacara, 10 to 1, 12 to 1 Latam, 14 to 1 Mr. Professor, and bigger the rest. Now, a lot of these horses in this look like they will be hoping that the rains come at Sandown, but I can't see. The weather forecast doesn't suggest it's going to be absolutely lashing down, so I bear that in mind. It's probably going to be just on the easier side of good, and that probably won't suit Classic, who's very, very frustrating. It's got all the ability in the world, but it just doesn't win. He just doesn't win. Now, he does like Sandown, but he's only won twice from 18 outings. And considering he's shaped so well on so many occasions, I don't like him as a market leader for this. Theory of Everything could improve for a seasonal return when behind Great Chieftain at Haydock. Be interesting to see if Dashing Darcy gives that form a boost in the opening race at York. Second start of the wind up, has his chance. Urban Lion, lukewarm with. Astra Verde is very, very interesting. Has won here at Sandown. Oisin Murphy has been booked in stall 2, but going to be held up, I would have thought. And looked very progressive last year. She looked very progressive, and she could have a strong hand to play in this. So I wouldn't entirely write her off. The market speaks for Astra Verde. That could be very interesting. But the one I come down on is Tribal Chief. I think he's a well-handicapped horse. I'm just going to put a line through the run in Paris last time when sent over there for a handicap. That didn't really make too much sense to me, but I think they were going for the easier surface. His previous second, when running on, steaming home from the rear of the field behind Bullet Point, is good. I do like that Bullet Point form. I do think they are two progressive 4-year-olds this year. They met last year, wasn't much between them. But Tribal Chief was really on the up. I think it's too soon to write him off simply on the basis of that run in Paris last time. Now, he may prefer slower conditions, but he has no trouble with decent ground. He's drawn in stall 1. I think Harry Davies will try and get him to be prominent. He's got a good record on him, Harry Davies. He's back in the saddle. And he's certainly a well-handicapped horse when everything comes together. I think the big danger could be Balmacara, but he does definitely want soft ground. But he is a good horse. He's perhaps got the potential to morph into a listed or a Group 3 horse, I think. And he's drawn in stall 4. He will go forward. He's around 10 to 1. I think he's got a good chance. But I do think Tribal Chief just might have too much up his sleeve off a marker 91. So he's the horse that I'll be looking to get involved with at Sandown in the Reed Megan Nichols' blog at betmgm.co.uk. The Queen Mother Cup at York is the next race on ITV. It's a 225, but I'm not even going to waste your time with it. It's a female amateur jockey's handicap. Lovely race, brilliant, but nothing from our wallet in there, and I don't want to advise you to be getting stuck in when so much relies on the ability of the jockeys, so that's not for me. We're going to go to the 240 at Sandown. That's a Scurry Stakes. BetMGM is sponsoring this card. Star of Memas heads the market under Ryan Moore for Richard Hughes at 5 to 2. These are best prices. Hold a Dream for Ross O'Ryan and Clive Cox, 10 to 3. Koto de Casa for Simon and Ed Crisford, making a seasonal return, 7 to 2. Town and Country for Henry de Bromhead, 9 to 2. Last time this horse came over to Scotland, Air really did just bomb out. 25 to 1 and bigger the rest. Which is insane, really, because Pearl of Wisdom, who's a 50 to 1 chance in here, has won at Sandown. It's drawn okay in stall 5 and was only 3 lengths behind Star of Memas at Ayr in the listed Rosebery Stakes last year. So there's not a whole lot between them, but the market thinks that that's not the case. And Star of Memas, I think, should take a bit of beating. I think the latest run at York 30 days ago, when beaten ahead by Tropical Storm, I think that's the strongest piece of form in the race. And just caught very much on the line. That was a really, really good run, I thought. Probably just did too much too soon under Ryan Moore. But he's drawn well in stall 2. Should go forward here. Should get the rail. 5 furlongs is perfect. The uphill finish should be okay. I think Hold a Dream is interesting. We'll jump on the coattails of Star of Memas. But I think if Star of Memas is going to get beat, something's going to have to come from behind and have to collar Richard Hughes' runner late. But I do think 5-2 is probably a bit of value considering the latest run was a career best effort. And that's just where I'd be leading there. I just think there's a lot in Star of Memas's favour. She is pretty useful and she is steadily improving. This will be her 3rd start of the season. 5 furlongs is undoubtedly her trip. So she makes for plenty of interest in... Sorry, the dog's playing around. Makes for plenty of interest in that Scurry Stakes at 2:40. Back over to York at 3 o'clock. Cracking little race this. Disappointing for the turnout really. Only the 5 runners. Good to firm. 40 grand on offer to the winner. It's the Sky Bet race to the Eball Cup. Over a mile 6. Absurd is in here at 6-4 as the favourite. I think that's too short. Well, he's 11. That's 6-4 best price. He's 11-10. I think that's too short. I do. I think there's too much between him and Al Sakib in the market. Al Sakib, I thought, shaped really encouragingly on his seasonal return behind Rebels Romance. Over course and distance 29 days ago, it was a steadily run affair. He was at the rear of the field. He had to make more of an effort than those in front of him that finished in front of him. He finished 4 for 5, but it was still really good effort. He was only beaten less, or he was beaten less than 2 lengths on that occasion. He won here last year going away. I think he's going to improve a good bit for that seasonal return. He had the beating of Al Kareem last year. He's getting weight from Al Kareem this time around, and I just think he's got a big chance. I think he's got a big chance. I think he can get the better of Absurd, and I think the price difference between the two is actually absurd. So Al Sakib for me would be a pretty confident selection in the listed contest at 3 o'clock at York. Over to Chester. I do love Chester. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. This is a very interesting race. So it's a fairly valuable race over 7.5 furlongs, class 2. It's worth 25 grand. We've got 9 runners going to post. Heading the market is Johnsy for Andrew Baldwin at 4-1 best price. Frankie's Dream, who looked well handicapped 14 days ago, 9-2. Milford 9-2. 8-1 Miami Matrix. 8-1 Triple Double A. Mayday Malone 14-1, and then bigger the rest. I thought it was an actually encouraging performance from Johnsy, although beaten quite handily really at Salisbury, enlisted company by Fair Angelica, beaten 4 lengths. I didn't think he had the pace to challenge. I don't think he is a 6 furlong horse. I think he wants to go up in trip. Today he steps up in trip, 7.5 furlongs. And the one thing I really took out of that Salisbury race was, I thought to myself, oh, he could do with some headgear, this horse. And then I've seen that he is being given the visor back today. So he wore the visor for the first time last year at Kempton in the Group 3 when he was outpaced at the death by Symbol of Strength, splitting him and Brian. I think that's a decent piece of form in the Group 3 contest there. And then he was beaten 8 lengths at Newmarket by Shadow of Light in the middle part. But the fact that he was being entered in these races suggests that they fought an awful lot of him. He's been gelded since. He's had 2 runs now. He was 25-1, so the market didn't expect him to do anything flashy at Salisbury last time. But I thought there was encouragement there. I thought it still was a step forward from his debut seasonal return at Chelmsford. Now, he's still a maiden on the all-weather. His only victory has come on turf when he won at Goodwood over 6 furlongs when going off a 7-4 favourite. But I do think that from stall 3 around Chester, 7.5 furlongs with the visor back on into a class 2 handicap, I think he's got a cracking chance of a mark of 97. Now he does need to prove that he's trained on, if you like, but I do think there was enough in that Salisbury run to make him of serious interest in this company. This is not a good handicap. This is not a deep handicap for me, and I'd be the market seems to have this horse split in opinion. 5-2 is the bottom price, 4-1 is the top price, so plenty of juice in between those. But I think Johnsy is very interesting. I think Holly Doyle will get out, keep it simple. and I think he'll find plenty for pressure. So he is of interest on Saturday in the 3:20 at Chester. And then the final race on ITV is the 3:35 at York. It's the sprint handicap, where I have absolutely no interest in getting involved in a 22 runner sprint handicap at York. I must be honest with you, there are people out there that will have a stronger opinion in races like this than myself. I don't really want to be getting involved in this. I just think a lot of the time it could be throwing away money. It's 5-1 the field. Double Rush heads the market. Maelstrom is in next at 8-1. Marshogan for Andrew Baldwin, 8-1. Toko Salamanca, 10-1. Fast Track Harry, 12s. American Style, 16s. Loom, it's the Hood for the first time, 16-1. Northern Ticker, 16-1. Plenty of good horses, plenty of unexposed 3-year-olds in the race, but it wouldn't be for me to be getting involved. If you want to find out my nap, come and join Daryl Carter Racing. We've got a brilliant community of people on there. Royal Ascot is next week. We will be doing shows for members all week for Royal Ascot. I cannot wait. Until next time, guys, be lucky.